Hey guys, this is Top bringing you some more structured PvP footage. Today we'll be looking at the engineer. I'm running what I call the Inspector Gadget build. It's a pistol and shield condition damage build that takes advantage of multiple gadgets like the battering ram and the rocket boots. So, going into the beta I didn't actually have much interest in trying the engineer out because I looked at it briefly and I saw like one weapon set and lots of turrets that I have to babysit and deal with AI, and so I was trying to cut down my options since there's so many interesting professions in Guild Wars 2, but as I was playing on my Elementalist, one of my guildmates was telling me that he was having trouble finding a good build for the engineer. And, it's sort of my nature. Like, if there's something that is supposed to be hard to figure out, then I want to try and do it. So I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. And, as it turns out, I'm really glad I did. The engineer turned out to be incredibly fun, like, amazing what you can do with it. I like to play a tanky build that has a lot of control and steady, reliable damage, and the build that I ended up coming up with is just really strong in that. As far as stats go, I again went with a condition damage focus, sort of like my Scepter Dagger Elementalist, with a healthy amount of toughness. I didn't really put much more into vitality because the engineer just has naturally more health than the Elementalist did, and I thought that was going to be enough. So this video is actually going to be a straight single game uncut to show you what the build can really do. Now, I chose this one because I was playing on a server with some guildmates, and they were finally mostly on the other side from me, and so it ended up being a pretty tight game as opposed to a complete stomp. So I'm coming in on the mine here, and this warrior who is from my guild is attacking me, and I know that he does a lot of damage, so I just immediately, right there, use the knockback. So that's one of the first utility skills that I chose, is the battering ram. Now what that lets me do is on a pretty low cooldown I can knock him back, and what I tried to do is I tried to push him directly into that little alcove so that not only is he pushed back, but he actually has to run around a little bit and I can get straight onto the node to start neutralizing it. So we're fighting now, and he helps towards me again there, and what I do is I use the flamethrower to knock him back, and then I drop a napalm and then start kiting him through the thing. So, and then, by using the flamethrower, it actually has several skills that allow me to control movement. So not only do I push him out of the point to finish neutralizing it, but then I'm able to drop the napalm and then go across it and pull him back through the fire again. So that gets quite a lot of fire on him. You can see that he's actually still burning now, even though I'm not continuing to apply more burns. So what I'm able to do is I'm able to continue to apply a lot of pressure. He actually does quite a lot of damage. He nearly kills me there with that eviscerate, and that triggers a trait that lets me drop some mines when I get low on health. So what I start to do is I start to kite him through those mines, and then right there I actually knocked him back again with the battering ram straight through another mine, which ends up downing him, and I'm able to finish him off. But I'm able to really control movement. Now, here I have another guildmate of mine attacking me, Targrim, and you can see how quickly I'm able to just start to burn through his health with all of these conditions. I started attacking him again. Now he has actually pretty good condition removal, which is what's making it a little bit hard for me to keep all these on, but you can see that I'm able to very quickly stack these bleeds onto him even as he's removing them. So I have pretty decent sustained DPS even though he's able to remove them. So I go in to try and finish him, but then the Mesmer there actually stuns me, which is really good. And so I'm like, okay, I'm just going to try and get my ally up. So I use my knockback on actually a clone by accident. And what I'm able to do is buy enough time to revive my teammate, and then I use another knockback for my shield. And that allows me to finish off the Elementalist there. So now I figure that since we have, one base and we're actually down a little bit, what I want to do is I want to protect the keep because it's coming under attack from the rest of the team. So I left my ally back there to try hopefully capture it. I didn't notice that I wasn't actually capturing it, but I wanted to get over to the keep, join back in the fight. So that warrior's up here now. So I start engaging with both of them, and right there you can actually see that the pistol shots will actually pierce through the enemy. And so what that allows me to do is, because I took a trait, it's going through, and then the pistol shot applies a bleed in an area effect. So since they're standing close enough to each other, I'm actually getting double bleeds on both of them by doing it. So this is one of the strengths. So even though my build doesn't actually have an incredible amount of damage, it does actually do pretty decent damage when they start to stack up, because these conditions just build up so quickly if they allow me to. So I'm just kiting around. I go into my flamethrower because my flamethrower not only gives me stability, which prevents them from controlling me, like with stuns or with knockbacks, but it also allows me to push and pull them around. So it's like a two-way thing. Like, not only do I gain a lot of control over them, but they lose the ability to control me.
The keep is yours. Keep it.
So, we're just going through here, and I'm not really having a ton of trouble putting them down, but, we're still down in points because, for whatever reason, we're not able to hold points very long, and maybe it's because I'm moving around a bit too much, but I use my heal, and that gives me a random buff. It happened to give me swiftness, which allowed me to get to the henge a little bit faster. And so you can actually see right there that the node actually neutralizes much faster than it actually captures. So it actually is a pretty decent idea to try to hit enemy nodes pretty quickly, as opposed to necessarily defending your own, because it's very hard to actually prevent a node from being neutralized, but it's very easy to actually neutralize your opponent's node. Now at this point, we're down about 30 points, 35 points. And so what I probably should be doing is I should be going for one of those NPC bosses, especially since we're apparently down a player and one of our players just joined. So, I wasn't really paying that much attention to the score. I was just trying to play. Here, I actually rush in, and I'm like, okay, I can take out this Mesmer. I again use my knockback to control him, and I start to attack, but there's two Mesmers here, and they're actually playing pretty well. They're like just surrounding me. I'm getting exploded by mine racks constantly. And so I tried to escape there, and one of these other guys comes up here. I tried to actually use my shield's knockback there, but he was using Blurred Frenzy, which is a Mesmer ability on the sword that allows him to become invulnerable, and so it just whiffs on the distortion. And so I actually ended up going down. So the build is powerful, but what I really should have done there is I should have backed off. I should have used my rocket boots to propel myself backwards and get out of their range, as opposed to just trying to knock them back.
You've taken the mine.
So now I'm coming in here and I see that my ally actually goes down. So what I'm able to do is, by rolling forward and using my shield's knockback, I'm able to push both of them because it's an area effect knockback. And then since my ally here is a elementalist, he's able to use his root ability from his down state to actually hold them far away. So it's actually an incredible combination for picking up elementalists. But it's really good for allowing you to revive almost anyone. You're just able to knock people far away from them and then just start to channel that heal pretty quickly. So I'm coming up on the keep there, and I see that he's really far away. He's out of my range, so I turn around, I use my rocket boots to chase him. It's maybe not the most effective skill because you do lie on the ground for a couple of seconds, but I figured I'd give it a shot. So I noticed there that my ally dropped a static field, so I jump into it, and then I try to use my knockback, because the shield knockback actually counts as a combo finisher, like a blast combo finisher, so that would have given me a buff, but I guess I was standing just outside of it. It didn't actually work. So here is actually one of the things where I screw up a little bit with the flamethrower. It's really tempting in this, when you equip the flamethrower, to actually just start firing with it, but there's either a couple bugs or something that make the flamethrower really not worth using for its main attack, especially in a build that doesn't have very much power. So in that huge melee there, I dropped my supply crate, which stunned everyone in the area, and I started to do some pretty good damage. Actually down one of their opponents, but the problem there was that there were just so many of them, and I got really tunnel visioned on trying to finish off that one opponent. That was actually a point where what I should have done is I should have tried to just use line of sight in that little cubby there to lower the amount of incoming damage, and then just shoot at the downed opponent in order to take him out. But I wasn't really thinking about it too much, and as a result I ended up going down. Also, there were 4 of them, and yeah. So here I actually see that one of their opponents is going over towards the mine, and I figure he's going to be able to neutralize it so easily. So I'm just going to ignore him because we're about 50 points down. That's the perfect amount for me to make a comeback by actually taking out this NPC. And the engineer build is actually incredible at taking out the NPCs on forest. So I'm able to just control the NPC really well. I use the knockback, I use my blind, I use other things to reduce the amount of damage. I quickly switch to my flamethrower and I use another knockback. I actually screwed up right there. I should have switched out of the flamethrower and blinded him right before he charged me. So that's why I took an extra knockback. But, you know, I'm able to really easily solo him. And I know that they're going to actually end up buffing up those bosses as a result because it's a little too easy. So here I'm fighting this thief. And what I'm able to do is I'm able to control him very readily. So I just started applying my damage. I use my shield to reflect his projectiles back at him. And then I get into melee range and I apply my stun. If he hits me, then he's stunned for 3 seconds and it managed to actually go off. So here I actually learned from that previous point. So I'm trying to down this guy, but this warrior is on me again. And so what I end up doing is I try to just kite around a little bit while shooting at him, applying enough bleeds that, you know, the bleeds will just finish him off and he actually does go down. Unfortunately, I guess while I was doing all that fighting, I was fighting the thief and then this warrior came in. And my allied warrior here actually just joined the match. You know, we ended up losing. I guess some of my allies on the other side of the map ended up dying, and they didn't manage to take control of that mine. So it is important to make sure that your team is working together to take control of all of these things. So, conclusions on the engineer. It's amazing. Over the course of Sunday, I went from not interested to, whoa, what should I play more, this or the Elementalist? Not to mention that he looks so badass. I mean, just look at this. My build does have some weaknesses, but I think I could fix them up a bit. Since I didn't plan out my build before the beta, I didn't really consider condition removing options, which was a pain in some of my other matches. But I think I might switch in the medkit and switch the rocket boots for an Elixir R for even more team support through condition removal and revives. But we'll have to see. Sorry for the delay in getting the video out. Apparently the hard drive I recorded half my stuff onto is dying, so it's crashing my computer a lot, and it took me forever to restore this footage. I'll be getting more stuff up soon, so subscribe to see more and let me know what you think. Thanks again, and I'll see you around.